Are Seventh-day Adventists preaching elitism and exclusivism when we say that we are the remnant? I don't think so. But I do believe that this church, sinful, faulty, and defective though she be, is the one object upon which Jesus Christ bestows his supreme regard.
This is actually a really common pastoral tactic in Adventist churches. Now, I'm not sure it's unique to Adventism, but it's definitely a frequently used approach to make your point about Adventism by emphasizing what Adventism is not. Adventists are not X. Adventism does not Y. Because there seems to be this constant defensive posture, like Adventism is always under attack, despite the fact that outside of Adventist circles, not very many people are concerned with what Adventists are up to. These calls are coming from inside the house.
Stop calling me, you sick!
Listen to me. We traced the call. It's coming from inside the house.
So if you take the beginning claims, Adventism does not preach elitism. Adventism does not preach exclusivism. What's the point of making that statement? It's a value judgment, right? It's suggesting that a church that does preach those things would be wrong to do so. Because it puts an emphasis on knowledge, and doctrine, and works in order to earn God's favor, and Adventists do not believe in such things. So what would generate the criticism in order to feel the need to address it from the pulpit? Could it be the dissonance that Adventists live in, where we do, in fact, have a unique set of doctrines and beliefs, interpretations, and practices that are peculiar to the evangelical Christian community at large, that we as Adventists are taught we must adhere to or lose our salvation? Because we've moved from the milk to the meal. Adventism is a step up in the ranks, a graduate school, Christianity plus. You don't have to keep the seventh-day Sabbath until the Lord convicts your heart that it's the true Sabbath. Then you're held to that new standard, and you must match your new understanding. You don't have to adhere to the Adventist vegetarian diet. You don't have to stop wearing makeup or jewelry until the Lord convicts you that your Adventist friend or the pamphlet they gave you is correct, and that that's what God requires of his faithful. And then you're held to a new standard. The more information, the more truth that you're presented with, the more truths you must learn to believe and then implement. And not out of obligation, not to avoid punishment, not to be given a reward, but simply out of your true love and appreciation, or lose your salvation. But understand this, and I don't think any Adventist would disagree with me here. The way you big box church Christian isn't costing you your salvation. It's just, if an Adventist were to start living by big box church rules, it would cost them theirs. Like, as former global Adventist president Jan Paulson once said, we believe that being Seventh-day Adventist has direct bearing on our salvation. While a believer can be saved as a Catholic, I would risk my whole spiritual life and salvation were I to leave what I am now and join some other community. See, you can drink coffee. I can't. You can listen to clean secular music. I can't. You can work late on a Friday evening or pick up a couple of extra hours on a Saturday. I can't. You can leave church and head to lunch and then a game, but my Sabbath is more sacred to me, and it has to be. What is expected of me, the amount of Christ I am to reflect to the world, is more than is expected of you. What God is looking for when he judges an Adventist is a different scale than when he judges a Baptist or a Methodist or a Pentecostal. But being held to a higher standard isn't elitism, is it? There's an implicit tension there, living in that space of elevated piety, this place of knowing God is giving more leeway to my neighbor than he is to me, because I was paying closer attention than my neighbor. It's hard to sit there and not develop a complex. some sense that doing more, following more, knowing more should mean something, should have an effect in this life or the next. But that in and of itself is sinful and betrays the reason that you're following these practices in the first place, because they have to come from love and gratitude, not from a desire to feel superior or earn something or avoid something. So start over.
I came into this church believing that this church was not better than other people, but that it was, in fact, the remnant church of Bible prophecy.
But we can't help ourselves, because you can't believe an all-powerful being sent a prophecy about your church to the Apostle John on the island of Patmos, declaring this peculiar band of believers would be the one group in the truth at the end of time, that this prediction came 1800 years before the church came into being, and was canonized in the divinely inspired book, and also think it's completely irrelevant that you believed it, that you joined that church while the next guy didn't. You heard the truth, you accepted it, you follow it, you sacrifice, and they didn't, not the way you did. They get to go to the same heaven you go to? Or alternatively, they get to do that and avoid the lake of fire, but if you were to unapologetically eat some catfish, it's a wrap for you? Like Denzel said.
I'm leaving without the Oscar, right? I'm leaving here with something. You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
Like, the unspoken question is, if I'm living by these standards, sacrificing so much more, shouldn't there be a difference in the outcome?
Seventh-day Adventists preaching elitism and exclusivism when we say that we are the remnant. I don't think so.
We are the remnant, defined as the final faithful group that keeps the commandments like Adventists keep them, not however your type of Christian does, and who possess the gift of prophecy as revealed through the writings of our church founder, not whoever your prophet is or was. Not because it's our way and our prophet, but because it's right. But that's not exclusive, because you can join us. We're not preaching elitism. We are the same poor, broken sinners as everyone else. We need the same forgiveness, the same Savior, the same sacrifice. It's just that once we joined the Adventist church, we became part of the one object upon which Jesus Christ bestows his supreme regard. Not humanity, not a Christian nation, not Christianity, the Seventh-day Adventist church. The one object upon which Jesus Christ bestows his supreme regard. Now that sounds pretty elite, but it's not supposed to.
We think we are one bit better than anybody else.
So if you just say you don't preach elitism or exclusivism, then